这个故事如果你听起来不累，那么你的听力水平在生活中是完全够用的。要持续提升英文，记得点击订阅按钮。我们开始吧。
If one quiet step could decide your future, would you dare to move your toe? Long before people whispered it in offices or schools, before it became a phrase in books, the idea of towing the line was alive on wooden decks that smelled of salt, sweat, and fear. Imagine a young boy, no more than 15, standing on a ship's deck at dawn. The wood is cold under his bare feet. Fog drifts across the water. His stomach twists as the officer walks along the row of new sailors. Each boy's eyes are wide. They clutch their hands behind their backs. No one dares to speak. A rope stretches across the deck. Just a thin line. But it is the boundary between order and chaos, between life and danger. The officer stops in front of the first boy. He doesn't yell. He only says, "Tow the line." The boy glances at the rope. His toes tremble. He places one foot forward. Just the toes. Nothing more. The officer nods. Another boy steps forward. Some toes hover over the rope, some behind it. The officer's gaze is sharp. Too far forward, you are punished. Too far back, you are punished. The rope doesn't move, but it controls everything. This was not a game. On these ships, a single misstep could cause disaster. The waves crashed, the wind screamed, and the line reminded everyone, one wrong move and the whole ship could go down. Over time, the boys learned to control not just their bodies but their fear. Toes on the line meant survival, discipline, belonging. Decades later, the wooden decks were replaced by office floors, fluorescent lights, and conference rooms. The rope disappeared, but the line remained. People no longer stood barefoot on wet wood. They stood in suits, in rows, hands folded, in meetings, in classrooms, in offices. The phrase transformed, "Tow the party line." The rope became invisible. Rules became invisible. But the pressure stayed the same. Follow the instructions exactly. Speak the approved words, not at the right time, and you are safe. Step slightly out of line, and eyes turn, whispers follow, opportunities vanish. A young employee learns it quickly. First day, first meeting. They listen more than they speak. They smile at the right moments. Laugh when others laugh. Say nothing that could disrupt the pattern. Inside, they feel a tiny pull, a curiosity, a wish to ask why. But the line is there, invisible but rigid. Thin, quiet, strong. Weeks pass. The young worker watches colleagues rise and fall by the line. A minor mistake, a word said at the wrong moment, and someone loses a chance at promotion. Another person keeps perfectly in sync and climbs. The room is calm, but underneath, everyone is counting, measuring, towing the invisible rope that keeps them safe but also confines them. Then one day, a meeting grows tense. A new idea is suggested. It challenges what has always been done. Silence stretches across the room. Eyes flick toward the boss. Someone coughs. The line appears again. Toe the party line. Our worker feels heat in the face, heart pounding. To speak or to stay quiet. To step forward, or keep the toe perfectly in place, it is a small moment. But in the mind, it stretches like hours. Because it is not just about this idea. It is about who you are when no one is watching, when no applause comes. When no one will reward your courage or punish your hesitation, but the invisible rope will notice. Most of our lives are built like this. At work, at school, at home, with friends. We learn early which words are safe, which questions are dangerous. We learn where to smile, where to remain silent, where to move, where to stand still. Life flows smoother when everyone toes the line. Storms stay outside. Conflicts are minimized. Yet history moves forward when someone shifts their toe, just slightly. Not with a shout. Not with rebellion. Just a small, careful move. One boy on a ship steps differently, grabs the rope, steadies another. And the storm is survived. One employee speaks an unpopular truth in a meeting, nudging the group to reconsider an old plan. One child asks a forbidden question, opening a path to understanding. Tiny shifts, almost invisible, but with ripples that echo. The phrase survived for centuries because the moment it describes never disappeared, that heartbeat before choice, the tension in a toe, the pressure to conform versus the whisper of curiosity. Toe the party line means safety, yes. But it also means limits, confinement, small courage tested daily. When you hear it today, think of the sailors. Think of the foggy decks, the wet wood underfoot, the line stretched tight. Think of the officers. The rules, the fear that made a boy steady his toes. And remember, every line we follow was drawn by someone, and every line can be moved, first by a toe, then by a step. Maybe tonight, in a quiet moment, you will feel that rope too. In a conversation you hesitate to join. In a post you almost share. In a truth you almost speak. And maybe, just maybe, that tiny movement will ripple far beyond what you can see. Every time you toe a line, you learn its weight. Every time you nudge it, you learn its power. The choice is small. The stakes feel enormous. And in that tension, the story of countless sailors, workers, and everyday people waits quietly, teaching that courage is not always a leap, it is often a toe placed forward, a step taken when no one is watching.
能以非母语者的身份专注学习到现在，这本身就是很棒的进步。真诚感谢你的观看。如果你觉得本期内容实用，点赞或留言让我知道你的想法，这对我持续创作非常重要。我们下期见。